You late.
Here's something I think we can all learn in the wake of the giant game over sign at the end of Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance. The importance of making something look whack. Hi, I'm Nick. I studied art. This isn't going to be like most of the halftime show breakdowns out there, but if you're good, we'll get into a little bit of visual symbolism at the end as a treat. However, first, sisters, brothers, and others, we gotta eat our greens for a minute. Here's what's up. Once upon a time, everybody listened to Drake. Cool kids listened to Drake. He was the soundtrack for countless well-dressed, aloof young people. Kendrick Lamar has concluded a year-long campaign of making Drake fandom look goofy, pointless, and maybe a little suspect. And within that same year, we witnessed the culmination of a cultural shift in the West and the re-election of Donald Trump. A guy whose political aspirations went from being seen as goofy, pointless, and more than a little suspect, to being seen as totally normal, actually. You're weird for not liking him. How'd he do that? He didn't rebrand. Instead, he got other, more powerful, more influential people to rebrand around him and his ever-growing cult of personality. And those people didn't just use that power and influence to make MAGA more appealing, they used it to make leftist politics look corny, dated, sanctimonious, and maybe a little suspect. Remember that scene in 21 Jump Street where Channing Tatum is bewildered that the cool kids were now diverse and socially conscious?
We try to ride bikes when we can, global crisis and whatnot.
Whatever, man. I don't care about anything.
Oh, you don't care about the environment? It's kind of fucked up, man.
Well, that was in 2012, and that shit is over with now. Things have decidedly drifted back to caring about other people being lame as fuck, and everyone is using slurs again.
It says on your chart that you're fucked up. You talk like a fag, and your shit's all retarded.
Turns out the answer to all that liberal virtue signaling was edgelord signaling, because that's not obnoxious at all. It's just cool and hilarious, and it always will be, right? But Nick, you say, Mr. Strawman, if we all just say whatever we want all the time, all of these so-called forbidden words will lose all meaning. So what you're asking of us is to wade in the shit for so long that none of us can smell it anymore. No thank you. Look, I am freshly 37 years old. I finally don't give a fuck about being cool anymore. I long for a life where I can fully luxuriate in my own cringe. You don't develop leftist political views because it's cool. You develop them out of a sense of compassion, which is unfortunately an incredibly exploitable feeling. Coolness is maybe not necessarily where my focus should be at the moment, but all the same, I can't stop thinking about it. I talked about this briefly when I was on Olay and Friends, a great show that you should all watch. I mentioned that in the 90s, when the West Coast gangster rap and G-Funk scene that Kendrick Lamar is a descendant of was blowing up everywhere and having a worldwide impact, you regularly heard these rappers making references to condom usage. Call the music violent, call it misogynistic, a lot of it was. But credit where credit is due, those motherfuckers promoted the hell out of some safe sex and made it sound cool as a result. They used to make Going in Raw sound embarrassing.
Yeah, but I don't play sex without putting on the latex.
Find a contraceptive, you never know, she could be earning her man and learning her man, and at the same time burning her man.
Break out the champagne glasses and motherfucking condoms.
Aesthetics are often more important than we're collectively willing to admit. The left innovates in that regard, but the right can water things down and make them palatable for mass consumption. As an aside, that's why they want generative AI. They can't make anything new, so they just remove people who can and replace it with a machine that reiterates what's already been done. It's one of many tools to prevent the left from guiding the culture for any longer. It'll fail in that regard, though. The thing is, despite what I've been saying, despite Kendrick's victory, Drake's gonna be fine. He'll continue to make millions. He'll continue to have a huge fan base.
Drake has already tacitly admitted defeat and migrated comfortably back into his lane, and people who like that sort of thing continue to like it.
Hip-hop fans in the 90s, lots of them had unprotected sex. Some of you were made that way. And the left isn't going anywhere politically or culturally. Trying to suppress the left usually only manages to make it more fashionable. You know all of this. I'm just here for the notion, you know? I don't have the solution for how to make the left cool again. I'm probably way too old for that at this point anyway, but I want the notion in the air. I want it floating in the back of people's heads. If and when the pendulum swings back our way, what do you want to change so fundamentally that they can't wreck it all over again once it swings back to them? Because time is undefeated, and conservatives can only conserve so much of the outdated past for so long. So really think about what you want. Whatever it is, consider not only how to highlight its appeal and make it seem cool, but also how to make its opposition look like absolute clown shoes. I think that's what we can learn from the Kendrick Bowl victory dance. On a smaller level, Kendrick even made the Oakley profile picture people look whack out of their adamant refusal to have fun with half of the country.
What about the halftime show? Did you like that?
Bro, I couldn't understand a word that was being said, man. I had my volume turned up.
Also, I didn't really want to do the traditional performance breakdown video because everyone is doing those, but for fun, since I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet, I've seen a lot of people point out the red, white, and blue outfits that the dancers wore and talk about the symbolism therein. Those weren't the only costumes that those dancers had on. In the final third of the performance, there are also these dancers in a black version of the same uniform. They had filled the sections from the previous parts of the performance, including our hero standing on the eponymous GNX with the Sudan and Palestine flag. Now the themes of division become a little sharper. Blue and red, Dems and Republicans, Crips and Bloods. Black and white, self-explanatory. The dancers in black are set apart from the red, white, and blue, even though they are surrounding everything. And my immediate feeling seeing this positioning is that black folks too often have to watch the American dream from afar, understanding that, metaphorically speaking, there is no room for black in red, white, and blue. Hi, Nick from the next day here. You know that boilerplate complaint that there isn't a white entertainment television or a white excellence brunch or a white history month or whatever? Well, since it's Black History Month, I should explain something about black people and white people that I desperately want folks to understand. I know identity politics are cooked. I don't particularly care. I just gotta do this. Black people and white people are not analogous. Black and white both encompass multiple ethnic groups, but in the United States, where I'm from, blackness can function as an ethnicity unto itself.
I could be wrong, this is really just a gut feeling, but I feel like this false equivalency comes from yin-yangs and cookies and the day-night cycle as much as it does like slavery. I think people are legit conflating these identities with the symbols that come with the words black and white. People who don't think about things for very long.
The descendants of the American slave trade had their culture erased and had to create something new. White people's loss of culture happened too, but that was a willful agreement to their collective assimilation. Like I mentioned in my Nosferatu video, white people had a centuries-long run of shitting on each other's ethnic traditions and cultures, so a lot of early American immigrants had to permanently code switch to fit in. When you hear the term spicy white that's being thrown around lately, it usually means a white person that still has some sort of strong ethnic identity. Black is just an ethnic identity unto itself. We never had the opportunity to assimilate by design, because us looking different from them was half the justification for bringing us here to begin with. So that's why Irish pride, Greek pride, Italian pride, Polish pride, that stuff's A-okay. But white pride makes people go, wait, What exactly are you celebrating here? Not to mention, black people having a history of subjugation in this country made a movement for our empowerment necessary and revolutionary. White power is already here. It's the status quo. What are you shouting it for? You might as well be shouting that the sky is blue. Do you get it? Am I making sense here? I've been hearing these dog shit equivalency arguments my entire life, and I just had to get that out. I know that this is placed a little awkwardly into this video. Anyway, back to my main point. You also have the dudes in the jeans with the gold fronts, but I think they serve their own purpose as a representation of Kendrick bringing the hood to a grand stage.
Possibly controversial take, but I think it would have been cool to have Lefty Gunplay doing the crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. But everyone on stage was black, so, you know, maybe they could have just dressed him up like one of the dudes in the jeans with the gold teeth and put him with them for just a second. I get why they didn't.
That's my main observation, and I think it's underlined by the fact that so few people even mention the dancers in black at all. But do watch other people's breakdown videos. They're referencing some really crazy stuff. There's some amazing ideas and interpretations of the performance out there. I want to thank Ole Olurin for having me on Ole and Friends last year. I really do think that I was able to start forming this thought about the importance of aesthetics on her show. So please follow both of her channels if you have not already. She's a deeply insightful defense lawyer who has helped me understand a great deal about the American legal system, and I feel like her pop culture videos on her other channel have a similarly lawyerly approach, but with less weighty politics. Also, shout out to FD again. His Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl video encouraged more breakdowns, so I added the part at the end about the dancers in the black outfits because I thought, yeah, I should add my 2 cents to the visuals as well. Why not? That's always fun. I just didn't feel like doing a whole video that's just another one of these Kendrick breakdowns. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm working on a video that should be able to explain that soon. I got a pile of scripts to get through and start shooting. I've got a lot to get through. I'm also the host of a new local show in my hometown called Soul Issue about issues facing the black community. I'm excited to tell you more about that.
I'd like to thank $10 patrons Bramblefish, Christopher Kolish, Dean Accardi, Sunshine, Muchu Media, Lauren, Mike B, Leah, Bill, Turn to Pagex, Michael, Alani, Mocha Medics, and Francisco Rose.
But that's all I got for now. Thanks for your time. Keep on trucking.
I want you to bring me the cat. I said I want you to bring me the cat.
Dime,